Hello, hello, hello. Hello there. This is Lena with Especially Made for Me. Thank you so much for joining me. Hope you're able to see and hear okay. I do have my neighbor across the street playing some music tonight. So hopefully that won't disturb any of the sounds. Sometimes when there's togethers going on, they you can definitely hear everything. They get to whoops. Thank you so much for joining me. Sorry about this, y'all. Hope you're able to. Thought I had put this on no sound. There we go. Sorry about that. So neighbor, it's changing music right now, so you might not be able to hear him right now. But he's playing some music, so we're gonna have some music on the background while we do some arts and crafts today. So hopefully you'll enjoy the music, or maybe hopefully it won't get too loud or interrupt much at all, if any. So we're gonna be making a square wreath today, and we're switching to fall. So we're gonna do a new method on top of that. So we're changing things a little bit in all different areas. We're switching, of course, the theme. We're switching to fall. And instead of doing a round wreath, we're going to be doing a square one. So we have a metal wreath formed. This is from the dollar store, one of those square ones. So we're going to be using that. Of course, we're using some chenille stems or pipe cleaners. We're going to be cutting them in half. So that's a little bit different as well from some of the things that I've shown on the other tutorials. And then we're also going to be doing a new method that I haven't shown you before. And I do have another one. I'll show you what it looks like, because I did start a one for Christmas. So I'm going to be making one with peppermint and candy canes and different things. So this is what it'll look like. This is the bubble method. But this is on a round wreath frame instead of a square one. So I wanted to show you that. That's why I pulled it out so you can see what it should look like at the end, because at the beginning it may be kind of, what's this going to look like? So just to give you an idea. So with the chenille stems, we're actually going to be cutting them in half. And we can use some that are long for the places where we may do some ribbons and some embellishments, but we can do that at the end as well. So I'm going to just cut a few with my handy dandy scissors. So while we go through all the different things that we're going to do, I'm going to leave the camera view as it is, just for so that you can see my full face. Normally when I change the camera view so it'll be more zoomed on the project we're working on, you can't really see me. It's kind of like my head is chopped off. So I'm gonna just cut a few at a time of the chenille stems, and I'm literally just kind of folding it and cutting it right in half. Now if you don't have scissors that can cut through this fairly easy, there is a link, an affiliate link on the bottom of the video that you can actually use to purchase the scissors. And these here to the right, to the side of me, are some of the things that I'm planning to use. I don't always use everything because I don't literally plan everything specifically. I kind of go with the flow of how things look. But we do have, since it's going to be a fall wreath, we do have this pick that has already a pumpkin, and it's got some of the florals and different things that we can use to kind of either add it on to the wreath itself, or we may add some of these things to the bow, because I do want us to make a bow today. I like the way the bows look for the bubble method. And we have some of these. Now these I got at the dollar store, just so that you'll know you don't have to spend a whole lot of money. We have some of these to put on, and we may do some of the little pumpkins, and it's got some greenery as well. Now these are just from a bigger pig, and I just kind of cut them out because we shouldn't need too much at all for the way that we're going to be working today. So we also have some ribbons, and we may use some of this tubing. I do have it in the orange and of course in the green, which you can see on the video. And then we have this shimmery, I'm going to go ahead and take this off of here so you can see it a little bit better. It's very shimmery, but it's got some glitter on it, just to kind of get some of those little browns onto it. But it's got, and I'm not sure if you can see it on that, we could probably see it better there across from my apron. It's got little pumpkins on it, so it's perfect. It matches our theme, and we're going to have some pumpkins. So we got a few of these ribbons, so we should be able to go around with what I'm thinking of doing, and then we may have some left for the bow. But if not, we definitely have a whole lot of other ribbon that we're going to be using for the bow, just to kind of add all those harvest type, fall type colors. And we may even use this one with the sunflower. I'm undecided. And then we have this other one to kind of add some more of that brownish / orange color, and so on. So we're gonna play. We're gonna kind of go with the flow and see where we end up, but we're still gonna be using, of course, the square frame and doing the bubble method. I do have some other embellishments here to the other side in the box that we may or may not use, but like being ready and having a few things out. Make sure this stays put. Alrighty, so we're gonna go ahead and get started. And let me know if you're here joining me today, and if you haven't already, please do give me thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. But let me know how the view is. I'm going just by what I can see on my side, but I want to make sure that you're able to see the project and able to see what we're doing and what we're working on. So let me know if we need to change the view right away, so it'll be the zoom, a little bit more zoom to the actual table, and you may not necessarily see me. So for the bubble method, you can start anywhere you like. What we're going to be doing is using the inner and the middle rim to place our chenille stems, but we're going to be doing it a little bit different. Instead of doing it on the frame first, we're actually going to be doing it as we go, because instead of it being from the bottom up when we do the bubble method, it's actually going to be the opposite. And you'll see what I mean here in a little bit. So we're going to measure about 10 inches when we do this. So we're going to go ahead and gather. And this is a very light, it's still orange, but it's a very light orange color. And I wanted that because we have all of these other ribbons with all the extra colors. So that's going to make everything pop once we add those ribbons in. And my idea is to add that brown one along with it. So I actually, let me go ahead and put that on there so it'll be easier for me to move it. And I apologize in advance for the sounds. What I'm going to do is, and you could do a couple of different things when it comes to the bubble method and the mesh that you use. You could use a solid color depending on what ribbons you're going to be using, or if you just can't find something with stripes or with a design on it or different colors. Or you can use one, if you find one with all the colors that you want already in it, it's entirely up to you. So if you have one that's a solid color, but you want to give it a little bit of a pop, like I showed earlier, the one with the stripes for Christmas, it's already got different stripes and different colors. So if you want to have that look, but you didn't find the one that you want, but you may have the ribbons to match, kind of like what we're doing now, you can add that in, and then your ribbon could be the stripe. So we're going to go ahead and gather, and depending on how many yards you have on your ribbon, you may have to use more than one, which is why I have multiples up there. And then you know, also gather your ribbon. So basically the ribbon is going to be in the middle of the mesh once we're done. So it's going to add a little bit of the color and stripe to it once we put it in place. And I'm going to use, just to make sure it stays put, you don't have to use the zip ties. I just like using it when I know things might be moving a little bit more. And with the bubble method, we're going to be moving. It's like a little poof, but it's you know, the bubble as you saw, but it's going to be moved because we have to make sure we keep moving it and make it tight. So I'm going to use a zip tie just for that reason. Same as before if you have watched my other tutorials, but in case not, I'm just starting towards one of the corners, and I'm going to actually grab both the inner and the middle rim, just because I want to make sure it stays on as tight as possible. And I'm just locating that right in between so I can tighten it on there. And I have this facing the wrong way, so let me twist it. There we go. And then we want to make sure it's nice and tight so it'll stay in place. think I actually did that a little too tight because it's making it move. So I'll just grab another one. Makes it easy. And you could also use the Chenille Stems or pipe cleaners to do this. I'll go ahead and take out another couple because I know I'm going to need some. So, not necessary to do the zip ties. It's just another option. I like showing options. So I'm just gathering right at the edge. And if you're using one, in this case this one is a brand new one, but if you're using one that you have as a remnant and the edges may be a little bit off, you don't necessarily have to cut it because it's going to be hiding you and you're not actually cutting it to make like the ruffles and things like that like we've done before. So it's okay. It really is okay. Making sure I have this in the right angle. Alrighty. If you see that I'm a little bit lost here, I don't know if you've noticed, if you've seen any of my other live videos or replayed any of my tutorials, I kind of have everything backwards. Normally I have the mesh on the right hand side and all of my tools are on the left side, or in your case I guess it's the opposite. But I've switched things around a little bit just to kind of make it more to where you can see things a little bit better on the video tutorials and the lives. And it's kind of throwing me off a little bit. So please forgive me, don't mind me if it seems like I'm a little bit off. Okay. In the trash, because normally I have it on the right side. It's been interesting. Okay. So what we're going to do is gather about 10 inches. Now you could use the board if you have one. Again, you could use measuring tape or ruler, whatever works, or you could just do a visual and kind of do a judgment call on that. No right or wrong way, just kind of. I'm actually going to use, just because I'm kind of cuckoo. It's a little bit backwards for me at this time, but this is how it's going to look. See if I can turn it over. See, with the ribbon in place, it helps. And we're gonna grab our stems or pipe cleaners are already cut in half. And what we're gonna do is come from the top and we're gonna go right on in, making sure we grab that middle and inner rim. And I'm going to turn it upside down so you can hopefully see that a little bit better. So we're grabbing with the stem that inner rim and that middle, and we're going to then tighten it to kind of keep it in place. So you could either grab it from there and use both hands and then make sure you pull it apart. We're pulling the chenille stems in opposite direction, and then give it a twist. You can give it 1 or 2 twists just to kind of make sure it stays on there, and then move it out of your way. Okay? And we're going to keep doing that and keep going all the way around as we go. And that ribbon should stay right in the middle. So now you have like that little stripe, and you'll see it once we end at the end how it's going to look. And then when we run out of ribbon, we'll just add in another one because we can. Okay, again, just going from the top. And normally you can fit anywhere from 7 to 10 of these bubbles in each one. If you can see, there's the separation there, depending on how thick, depending on the type of mesh that you're using. So you could always count it and see, but we're gonna keep on pushing until we can't fit anymore, and then we're gonna go on to the next side. Excuse me. We're doing the same thing here. Again, inner rim and middle rim. And we're just gonna twist as tight as we can, or you can use both hands and go in opposite directions and then give it a twist. And then we're just going to push against it so we can keep on going. Okay. And I keep looking because there's a little division already right there. So with this one, this mesh being a little bit thicker, we may just do about 5 in here. We'll see, or less. Now your stems, depending on your theme, you can mix and match the colors if you like. It really, they won't be visible on the wreath itself. So it really doesn't matter in this case. But if you're gonna make it to where you're gonna use the pipe cleaners to add other embellishments, you may wanna make sure that they match, and if you're gonna leave them visible on the top end. And just folding in the middle to make it easier. And we're gonna push, and I think this is gonna be my last one for this section here. And all I'm doing on the end, and I may change the camera view. Let me know if you're out there and need for me to change the angle. I'm just pulling that chenille stems or the pipe cleaners in opposite direction and then giving it a couple of twists. Okay, so it should be looking like that. And the front should be looking like this. Okay, you could adjust the ribbon if you need to. It's okay if it doesn't look straight when you first go in. You could always fix them later. It's very forgiving. Okay, measuring again about 10 inches. And then we're just going to bring that in, make our little poof. Let's see, can I fit another one in there? No, so I'm going to move on to the outside. The more you push to make sure you can fit as much as you can in there, the better, because it'll make it fuller. So I like making sure I'm double checking. I like my wreaths to look full. When they don't look full, I feel like I didn't do a good job. You shouldn't be able to see any metal or see the frame. If you see a little bit, it's really not that bad, but if you see a whole lot of it all the way around, you're paying too much basically for that. Because you're not getting the coverage, which means they're not using us, if there's not as much of the mesh being used, which is fine. But if you're going to be selling it, for example, or giving it as a gift, you want it to look pretty, right? Alrighty, going again about 10 inches and bringing it on in. Another one. It keeps getting tangled. I'm gonna try. Well, there's 5 already on that one, so. Alright, just going back to the other side of it so I can make sure it's nice and tight here. Pulling in opposite direction and giving it a twist to make sure it stays put. Hi Marion, thank you for joining me tonight. We're making a full square wreath today using the bubble method. We're using chenille stems cut in half, and we're going from the top in And we're securing it on the first and the second rim. Okay. Can go on the back side and just twist from there, or you can use both hands. You could do either or. As long as you're pulling back, it'll stay put. And we're just gonna make sure that we have our chenille stems going in opposite direction and giving it a twist to make sure it's nice and tight. Give it a couple of twists and get it out of the way. And then we want to make sure we push against the others, because we want to fit as many as we can in between those crossbars. Going about 10 inches out, if you're just joining me. And then bringing in that poof or that bubble in this case. And we're going to be doing that all the way around. You could twist it with one hand. There's different options. You do what works best for you. There's really no rules. It's all about what feels best for you, what your preferences are, what you like. That's why I like making wreaths and swags, and there's no rules. No real rules. Okay. Pushing against it to make sure we can fit some more in there. Let me know if any questions as we go along, and while you're here, please do give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed to my channel. Yes, it is 21 inch, and then I'm using just regular ribbon, 2.5 inch ribbon, and that's what's in the, and what you see in the middle. I'm just doing it both at the same time. Good question, good question. And what we'll do as we run out of ribbon, we just keep adding more ribbon. That's why I have multiple rolls. My neighbor is playing music. I hope that's not too disturbing. I can hear it so loud here. Hopefully in the live it's not as loud. Maybe it's just me. Go ahead and take this tape off of the ribbon. Ah! I'm all lost because I switched everything around. Always try to make changes in the arts and crafts room to make things better and easier, and for the first few days I'm a little lost in my own arts and crafts room, which is sad. Fun, yes. And you never know what kind of music is being played. So definitely makes it fun. It's like, okay, we're feeling romantic. Okay, we're kind of, I don't know. You just never know. It's like party, party. Okay, it looks like on this next poof, we'll be out of this ribbon, so we'll be starting a new one. So we basically go through this process until we can't fit anymore in that division where the crossbar is at, and then we move on to the next one. So we want to make sure it's as tight as possible, just to make sure we have enough bubbles filling it to make sure it's nice and full. And again, just going with that stem from the top. Inner bar, middle bar. And if you can do it one-handed, you're more than welcome. Just gotta make sure it's nice and tight. open up another ribbon. And I got all of these ribbons from the dollar store. And the frame is also available at the dollar store. Sorry for that sound. Now I'm gonna go ahead and use the same stem to tighten that on there. Why not? Again, no rules, right? Makes it easier. Pulling in opposite directions on that stem and giving it a couple of twists, and then we're going to push. I'm going to show you the other side of it. This is the way it should be looking on the back end. So if you're able to keep on pushing and there's more room to put stuff in there, the fuller you want it, the more you want to make sure that's full. So that's why I keep doing that. If you don't want it too full, you don't have to push as much. If you want it to be a little bit loose, it's entirely up to you. Again, no rules. It's what we like, what we prefer. Gotta keep it fun. Can't get too rigid with rules when it comes to arts and crafting. We want to keep it fun. Let me know if the view it's not too good. I could always switch the camera view to make sure we can zoom in. I know you don't necessarily care to see my face. So I could always zoom in on the project and just put that view over. And I'll try that and see if that may work better so you can see what I'm working on. Uh-oh, my sweater got stuck on the mesh. Let's see. Let me move this over. Let's see. It's the top better. Maybe. We'll see. We can leave it like this and see. And I could just be at the corner. See if that view might be a little bit better. And you can kind of see how it's coming together while we work on it. Okay, we have more room. So we can keep on. Looks like the neighbor has decided to stop the music. Woohoo! Maybe I shouldn't say that. Celebrate too soon. It might be just changing the music type. I don't know. Okay, so this is the back of it. I want to make sure I show this for our beginners. If you want to just kind of pull in opposite directions and then give it a twist, a couple, just to make sure it's nice and tight, and then move it out of the way. And we're going to push against the others just to make sure that it's nice and full in between the crossbars. So if there's room, then we can fit another one in there. And if you want the bubbles to be a little bit looser, then you could just put less bubbles in there. But I found that the more that it's tight, the more they stand up. You can see that little bit of the difference. When I do it on the cross, I don't do it as tight because I do want them to move a little bit more. So you can do this method on any type of frame. So far I've had no problems doing it on the round ones, like I showed that peppermint one that I put on the floor. I've done it on the cross ones, and you can see I'm doing it on the cross shape, the square shaped one. It works. Awesome. Glad that's better. Thanks, Marion. Hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Glad that view's a little bit better. Well, music is back. Guess I celebrated too soon. Let's see, can I fit more in there? Maybe one more, let's see. I think I could go on to the next section. I'm undecided. I don't know if I got that much ribbon. We'll see. I have to do 2 and 2. And going out 10 inches and bringing it in. The chenille stems, again, they're cut in half, or pipe cleaners, depending on what name you like to call them. Oh, can't see it there. There we go. All right, we're done with that section. Moving on to the next. Okay, it's misbehaving. It's almost at the corner, so it doesn't want to stay put. There we go. Now let's show again the other one that I made on the round frame that I'm starting to work on for Christmas with the peppermints, just so that you can see what it will look like once you go all the way around. Because I know now it may look like, oh my goodness, what is going on? How is that going to look? So we could always fluff as we go or fluff at the end. Again, it's based on your preference, what you like to do. No rules, no rules. So let me pick that one up one more time. This is one of the ones I've done on a round frame. It's for Christmas. I'm going to be doing some peppermints and candy canes and different florals and that type of thing. So this is what it'll look once you're done all the way around. So the bubbles themselves don't have to be necessarily like a perfect bubble. So in case you're wondering with the way things are looking now, it's okay. It'll look pretty. I promise. And then the hardest decisions will be what to use for decorating it. If you want to use any embellishments or the florals. Like I said, I took out all these things and I probably won't use all of that, because I think sometimes keeping things simple is better. So it all depends on the theme that you're working on and what you prefer, what you like, or your customer, if you're making this for selling for a customer, or to a customer rather, especially if they give you some specifics on what they want. If not, then it's all a go. Move these out of the way. And I mentioned earlier, you don't necessarily have to measure it specifically, because the bubbles, again, don't have to be perfectly matched. You can eyeball it, or you can use the board, or if you do want to make sure that they're all about the same, that's okay too. I think I'm gonna have to stop wearing this sweater when I do these projects. Like the candy cane, woohoo! I like it too. I can't wait to finish that one. I have a candy cane swag that I absolutely love, and I don't know what it is about peppermints and candy canes. I just like doing those for Christmas. Glad you like that one too. I like like the bubble method because you don't have to worry about where to place the chenille stems and all of that. You just go with it. And you can use these other frames versus the ones that already have the stems on it, so you don't have to spend as much. Whether you're doing it again for gifting or selling. Makes it nice for the customers too, because they don't have to pay as much either. I think I can get a couple more in there. I know. I just like making sure it's full. Oh yeah, I think so, I think so. So again, you could always straighten things up as you go with the fluffing of the bubble or placing the ribbon, or you could do it all at the end. It's up to you. And if you like to make it a little bit simpler, your mesh, you could get it already with any kind of stripes or designs that you want on it, because there's different out there, like I used for the peppermint one with the red and white stripes. And then you don't necessarily have to use the ribbon in the middle, because I'm using the ribbon in the middle because I'm using just a one-tone mesh, and I wanted to add a little bit of a pop to it. Ribbon is twisting. There we go. Almost out of ribbon for this one. Looks like I did it just right. So we want to make sure that I have the ribbon on at least two sides, because I'm going to be putting the bows on here diagonally. So I can't wait to see it. Alrighty, working on this little corner. When you get to the corner, it gets a little bit more difficult to tighten it, because you want to make sure you go all the way around but still fill. So I'm just making sure it's nice and tight before I start curving it. I've seen other methods doing the bubble where they actually cut it and start over, but I like trying to keep it all together. Take that tape off. Same process all the way around. And I did put the list of supplies on the bottom with the video description to give you an idea of what you can use. So you could always look there. I am using a 21-inch roll of mesh, and the ribbons are 2.5 inch. Another wonderful thing about doing this bubble method is kind of like doing the poof method. You're not having to cut anything. You know, like when we do the ruffles or the curls. I love the curls too. That's another one of my favorites. looks like the music is much lower. I can barely hear it now. That's good. All right, sweater. Stop it. Fighting with the sweater, upset with the neighbor with the loud music. It's getting hot. Keep looking for my trash on the right hand side. So used to it being on the right side. Well, for me on the right. I guess it's still left on that end. Okay. I think I'm gonna try to push this. Let's see, it might work. It might just work. Will it? Nope. Okay, so I'm just crossing over, overlapping the ribbon since it's finished, so I can start a new one. And since I'm still working on that corner, it won't be visible. But that way I can make it a little bit more fuller on the corner. Can't hear music? Oh, good. Thank you. It's a lot lower now, so I'm very thankful for that. I was concerned between music and my accent. That's not a good combination when we're doing a live video. All right, made it around the corner. And again, we're just doing placing the stems on the inner and middle rim. And we're just pulling as tight as we can and giving it a couple of twists. And then we can push towards the other bubbles so we can make sure we fill in this space from one crossbar to the other. And the tighter the bubbles get in between the spaces, of course, the more you may have to play with it to get them in there. But while they're loose, it's all good. Alrighty, moving along. If you're just joining us, we are making a fall wreath with a square frame. And I'll show you once we're done with the bubbles, different ways we can position things. We're using a 21-inch mesh roll. And we're using 2.5-inch ribbon to add a little bit of oomph, since the 21-inch is just the one color. But you could also get the mesh with a pattern in different colors already within the mesh, and it saves you some time and some work, so you're welcome to do that as well. Like we can fit another couple in here. And we'll see how we're doing with the ribbon. I have one one more, so we'll see how we're gonna work it in. I mentioned earlier on the feed that I don't plan everything out 100%. I just kind of take out everything I think I may want to use that looks good, that will go well together, and I just go with it. I don't stress over, oh my gosh, is this gonna work? Is this not gonna work? Am I gonna use it all? No. We may not use all of the stuff we have out, and that's okay. As long as your project ends in a way that you would like it to look, it's all good-a, good-a, as I like to say, like good-a cheese. And most of the projects that I make here live, I do put them on the Etsy shop. I am a little bit behind schedule. I haven't put the ones from the last 2, maybe 3 weeks. Haven't put them on Etsy yet, but do take a look, as I will be updating over the weekend. So we should have all of those projects, including the Halloween ones that I did the last couple of weeks, and the baby reveal one will be up, and of course this one. Like I might need another roll. Let's see. Oops, there it is. Might be making it too tight. Normally I can go all the way around with just one roll. Looks like we might be okay, because we still have the bow. Let's see. We'll make it work. And I'll show you if by chance we may want to use it all the way around. It is easy to untie these and just move them without having to undo the work. I've had to do that, it happens. But we may make it work without going all the way around. We'll see. Oops, they're not staying open. We'll open some up later if we need to. I'm at the corner, so we may actually be doing okay. Hope the colors are looking okay. It looks more yellow on this screen from what I can tell, but it is orange. A very light orange, excuse me, and the ribbon is a copper color with the little pumpkins with glitter. The pumpkins have the outlines in glitter. Yay, looks like we're gonna make it. kind of quiet. I don't even hear my husband watching TV now. No music, no TV. Let's cut some more. Don't need that many. These scissors, again, if you don't have any that cut pretty much through the stems and pretty much anything, I do have the affiliate link on the bottom of the video on the description part. Same things for the wire cutters and my glue gun, which is cordless and I absolutely love because I don't have to worry about the cord getting in my way. Okay. One more bubble and we're done. Could try to fit more in there, I don't know, since we still have a little bit of mesh. Let's see. Gotta push. We might. We need to do more ribbon if we do though. Okay, so this is half of the square. So I am going to go ahead and cut. I normally give it about 4 inches just so that we can tuck it in. Okay, so it'll be on the inside of it. And this is where I use the chenille stems to secure it in place. You can use chenille stems or you can use the zip ties. Now you can, I mentioned earlier about going all the way around with one roll. You can if you don't make it as tight. So that is another option, just like I did with the round one. Go. You can make things pretty on the back. Not that anybody really looks at the back unless they want to see how it was made. Okay, and this is how your back should look. And again, you could do all the way around or you can do the half. My plan is to, instead of having it square, I'm going diagonally like a diamond. So we can have this to be our bottom or the top and then have our bow on the bottom part. I'm actually going to go this way. Just because with this much mesh, it actually makes it a little bit heavier on the bottom. So you wouldn't want that on the top. And then you could position your bubbles. If you want to reposition your ribbon, you could play with that. But this way you don't have to worry about adding ribbon afterwards if you do it this way. I'll do the tutorial on adding ribbon after the fact if we use mesh that has multiple colors. So I'll do another tutorial on that on a different day. Okay, so from here we will make our bow to go on top. So I'm going to put this to the side. Let's see if I can get it to hang somewhere where it won't be in the way. And we can work on our bow. Where is my, it's hiding behind me, excuse me. I need to turn my back on you. Okay, so we're gonna work on our bow. We have all this pretty ribbon, and we still have one roll of that same ribbon that we used. You can't see what I'm touching. That same ribbon that we have here with the mesh, we're gonna use for the bow. And I don't think I'll wear this sweater again while I'm working back here. That keeps happening. Okay, so let's work on our bow, shall we? I'm gonna start, I think I'm gonna go with one of these colors first because I want to make everything pop. So we'll see. There is also an affiliate link for the Easy Bow Maker. If you don't have one, or if you want to use that, it's not necessary for you to make a bow to have that. You could do the bows by hand as well. And I do have some tutorials on that. If you look on the list of videos. Okay, we're gonna go with, let's see. It's like a 16. I want to go that long. I'm gonna go with 12, like a 12-inch tail. We're gonna give that a twist, and we're gonna go to like 6 inches for our loop. And the reason we give it a little twist is to make sure that our pretty side, like in this case, this one has a little bit of like shimmer glitter. It's not really glitter, but it's kind of shimmery. I don't know if you can see that with the lighting. And the other side is not as shimmery. So when we have a pretty side, if we can call it that way, that we want it to show, we always give it a twist in the middle so that we can twist it. And then we have the other side on the inside of the bow for our loop. I'm gonna do 2 loops on each side. I'd actually do 3 because I want it to be big. I want a big bow. Alrighty. I'm gonna go ahead and line our ribbon so we can cut it about the same length. And to do the dovetail, we just fold it in half, and we're gonna cut diagonally towards the corner. And that's it. Just gives it a finished look. Okay, while we're here, we're going to go ahead and just position our tails and our loops just to kind of help a little bit from when we add the other ones in. And you could always do this towards the end. I just like seeing where I'm at. Kind of like seeing the bow taking shape. I think I'm gonna go with this one. And there's really no method to the madness, so to speak, when it comes to making a bow and selecting your ribbons, other than making sure that they go with your theme. And you can use 2.5, you can use the 1 inch, 1.5, or even the 4 inch. But the thicker, or the wider rather, I keep doing that with the trash can. The wider your ribbon, the more you want to use it towards your bottom of your bow. So you want to make sure that your other ones get seen. Okay, doing the same thing here, just doing the 6 inch. I'm going to do 2 of this one. I don't know if you can see the pumpkins on the feed, but I'll try to hold up the ribbon. I know I showed it earlier on, but I think it's so cute because the pumpkins are lined up with the glitter. And normally when it's got an image or something, I try to do that part by hand to make sure that all of the images are facing in the right direction. But with this being such a shimmery and thin ribbon, I'm not worried about it too much. Again, just doing the dovetail to give it that finished look. I don't know if I want to use that one or not. I think I'm gonna keep it at 3. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, or if you're just joining, to please give me a thumbs up and subscribe. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do 3 with this one, but I'm gonna make the loop a little bit smaller, maybe about 1 inch smaller. And having the easy bow maker, or even if you use the bow dabra, just kind of gives you like that extra set of hands. So it kind of holds everything in place. But if you don't have one and you're not interested in buying one, I do have other tutorials showing how to make the bows without actually having either the easy bow maker or the bow dabra or the pro hand the bow. There's so many out there, but there's definitely ways to make pretty bows without having either one of those items. Okay, one more loop on each end and we'll be done with this bow. And we may or we may not add the greener. I think we're gonna leave it at that. We'll see how it looks. Another way to do it, if you don't want to have to cut twice, you can just fold it while you still have it on the roll without cutting it away from the roll. And as long as you're cutting diagonally towards your edge, it's basically the same thing as cutting towards the end. And you still have, let me hold it up against my apron, you still have that dovetail. I like showing little tips. There's different ways of doing it. Alrighty, let's see if we want to stay with it as is. I think so. Grabbing my zip tie, I'm gonna go under the bow. And I'm not gonna go all the way on tightening it. I'm just gonna hold it in place. Move it to make sure it's in the middle. And we're gonna move that zip tie towards the back and tighten it up a little bit more. Not all the way, because we still want to put our chenille stem or pipe cleaner on there to hold it on to our wreath. So we can shape a little if we want to from here, but we're going to need to shape it up again once we put our stem and we tighten it. Okay, so the chenille stems for pipe cleaner, we're going to put it right through that loop of the zip tie. And then we just shape our bow. When we think we have everything positioned where we want it, then we can tighten it up all the way and then do any final shaping before putting it on the wreath. And just running your hands through on the bottom of the tails, kind of like when you shape those smaller ribbons with the scissors. Basically, it's the same concept. And if you use wired ribbon, makes it even that much easier to shape your bow. And you can continue to play it. I'm known for just continuing on and on and on and on with shaping. And tighten it just a little bit more so I can let it go. I like using both hands for shaping. Like being able to move the ribbon where I want it. And then of course, once you put it on your wreath, then you'll do some more shaping. So I'm just holding it in the back, just holding that zip tie in the chenille stem, and I'm going to go ahead and make sure it's nice and tight now. And I'm going to cut the zip tie but leave the chenille stem, because that's what we're going to use to put it on the actual wreath. Okay. Kind of going out of focus there, but here we go. I want to make sure it's right at the corner. So in case you're wondering what on earth am I doing, I am actually running it through on the corner, and now I'm gonna pull to make sure it's nice and tight, and I'm giving it a twist. And then we could always cut the extra stems off. And as I mentioned, once we put it on, we gotta do some more shaping. And then you could adjust from there if you need to cut the tails or whatever we might need to do. Alrighty, move this over. So we may need to cut those tails a little bit shorter, but I kind of like them long. And then of course we want to make sure we have something on the back. I'm gonna go ahead and change this view here. We'll want to make sure we have something on the back so that it could be hung. So you would do another pipe cleaner, so that way your customer can hang from it, but the way that it's positioned here, I'm going to turn it around, they'll still be able to hang it without you putting anything on the back if you're selling it or if you're giving it as a gift. So this is it. This is just doing the half square using the square wreath frame, and you could go all the way around without making it as tight, and you could add of course some embellishments or some florals to go around. There's different things you can do to fill it up even more. Hope you like this tutorial. If you do, please make sure you give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again hopefully next week. So here on Fridays at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. So I hope you join me again soon for our next project. We're gonna continue on with fall and may switch it around a bit again, do more bubble work, just so that we can do a different pattern. But until then, please stay safe, keep smiling, and stay liquid. You have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.